This program is brought to you by Pussy Magnets.
Put a midge on your friends with a pussy magnet.
Welcome, my lovely lumps. Or should I say lovely labs? I'm so thrilled to have you here in the Labia Lounge to yarn about all things sexuality, womanhood, holistic health, and everything in between. Your legs. Can never help myself. Anyway, we're going to have vag loads of real chats with real people about real shit. So buckle up. You're about to receive the sex ed that you never had and have a bloody good laugh while you're at it. Before we get stuck in, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm recording this, the Menang people. It's an absolute privilege to be living and creating dope podcast content on Noongar country, and I pay respect to their elders past, present, and emerging. Now, if you're all ready, let's flap and do this. Oh God, is there such thing as too many vagina jokes in the one intro? Whatever, I'm leaving it in. It's my podcast.
Don't panic, you're not broken. Your sex education was a piece of shit. Get your flaps out and pull up the couch. It's the Labia Lounge.
Ah, shit.
Far out, woman. What's got sand in your clam now?
Pew, 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 pew. Sandy my clam. Hey, my labial love bugs. Welcome back to another installment of Sand in My Clam. I've got Hannah back with me today. Hey, Hannah.
Hey.
And I didn't really have like that much to say, but there was just this thing that's always bugged me that I wanted to bring up and just to see what, like, basically I have an idea and I'm like, this thing pisses me off. And then Hannah's always got like some really good shit to add to that. So I thought I would just like roll with this and see if we can come up with like a bit of an epi. So I don't know if you can relate to this, but I have noticed, I mean, it happens with everyone, like lots of different people, but in particular with groups of men, I find that it's something about their like voices being like deeper and more resonant, maybe louder, maybe they're a little bit more assertive and like quick to talk over someone. But in groups of men, I will like often feel my voice like not really being heard as much, and I'll like say something and it'll just like, one, I can't fucking get a word in the first place, and then two, I might like say something and I've got like this really great thing to like, you know, good input, it's like very perfect thing to have like said or whatever, and I'll say it and then like no one will have heard it, and then some other dude will fucking say basically the exact same thing and they'll be like, oh yeah, like totally, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Am I invisible? And it doesn't happen like heaps, you know, I try to like curate the people that I hang out with and I don't really have those sorts of people that I'm dealing with regularly, but it used to happen a lot more, especially in certain workplaces or like even just like at school and stuff. And it just really fucking got to me, and I've noticed at dinner tables, like at my family gatherings, there's a lot of like, got a couple of brothers and a bunch of like male cousins, and you know, my uncle's super fucking loud, and it's just like impossible to get a word in, and I feel as though that has something to do with the fact that I'm a woman.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
You know what? Listening to you say this, I've just thought something new, which I wasn't thinking. We were thinking about this before. And maybe there's like a voice pitch, volume, tone aspect to it. But I wonder if any of this is just like a bit of a hangover from like women are seen and not heard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of my vibe. That's
you
what I
know, like even though these people aren't like meaning to like intentionally silence you, if we're just used to like magnifying male voices and women just sort of sitting and being pretty, maybe we as a culture, you know, just like are more prone to doing what you just said, which is like, you know, you're having a conversation and the men like dominate the conversation.
I reckon it's like maybe not something anyone consciously thinks about, but like as you're like, if you think about, and this is kind of a whole other topic that we could do an entire episode on, but like gender roles when you're bringing up children, like generally kids, you know, they're brought up according to their sex, and the boys are brought up and encouraged to be quite like, boisterous and assertive and like loud, like they're kind of forgiven for
Yeah.
being louder more so than the girls are. And like
Yeah.
the girls will be rewarded for like being a good little girl and being nice and polite and like gentle and quiet. And I think it starts there.
Totally.
And then it's just, it just sort of carries on. And so like boys like will turn into men who kind of aren't as hesitant to speak up or be more assertive or like maybe talk over someone or just not be as good at listening or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we're stereotyping here, but I think that definitely has a part to play, is like the way that we sort of treat our little girls and little boys and then the kind of people that they turn into.
Yeah.
There's definitely a piece there. Like, absolutely. You can't ignore that.
And like we are just not as assertive. Like that's been shown, that's been shown as like in workplaces, females aren't as assertive as men because we're more empathetic. And so that probably comes into it because we're better at, and this is totally generalizing and stuff. And there's obviously a whole spectrum here, but I've definitely noticed like women to be better listeners probably because we are more empathetic and willing to like listen to other people and have them heard, and we're also kind of like conditioned to be people pleasing and self-sacrificing. So if like if we let someone else's voice be heard before our own, that's quite that's encouraged and that's like quite noble.
Yeah, the idea of that being noble.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've totally just nailed it. Not only is there the point of view of like, oh man, my voice isn't getting heard. It's like, oh yeah, that guy got credit for the joke. That's okay. He's pretty funny. Like just sort of that thing of like self-sacrificing. You're totally right. Like that's extremely pervasive.
Nah, I'm always like, I just said that, dude. Like I'm not letting him get away with it.
And maybe this is a bit of an exception because I'm not saying that you're like that.
But no, I know exactly what you mean. And a lot of people would just let it slide and just be like, oh gosh, like that's just, boys will be boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I haven't had this particular problem. The way that my mum often describes it to me is that like, because my mum's quite like a outspoken, assertive person, and I think it's maybe aided by the fact that both me and my mum have ADHD, so we're quite happy to interrupt and talk over someone. Maybe it's not related to like how confident you are. Actually, we're both potentially like overconfident to a fault. But she said, which is kind of like a nice or a cool way of thinking about it, when I was like, I don't know, 3 years old and I was like a little kid and I like had blonde hair, blue eyes, she said she looked at me and she thought like, unless I teach this person to be assertive and to stand their ground, the world's going to eat them alive.
Oh my God.
Which I think is cool because like, now I'm this person who doesn't mind like being assertive and making sure my voice is heard. But isn't it interesting that some people would see that little girl and go, oh, isn't she pretty? Okay, well, why don't you just play quietly over there? Whereas, like I like my mom's approach, which is you see that and you go like, okay, I know what you're going to be up against. So I'm going to intentionally raise you to like almost be so much in the other way that you'll just never have that problem.
Yeah, stand your ground. That's cool.
Yeah.
Go mum.
Yeah. Go mum. We love that. But what I wanted to talk to you about when you brought this up is that I feel like sometimes there's like this sort of going too far in the other direction where in order to make your voice heard, maybe in a social setting, but I think I've had a lot of this in work because I've worked in male-dominated fields, you have to be the man. So like which is fine. Like, if you want to work on feeling more confident and feeling able to voice your opinions, there's validity in all of that. But it's almost like in order to be heard, you have to play the man's game. And like, I think that in itself is like so flawed because the patriarchy is not only disadvantaging us, it's disadvantaging men either. So it's almost like rather than going like, hey, why don't we all, like work on our listening skills or like work on answering questions? It's like we're all trying to get better at one-upping each other and talking louder.
Yeah.
Which is like, if you think about actually trying to like have a conducive workplace or conversation, that's not really productive.
No way. Yeah, absolutely. Like I used to want to be a tomboy and like always used to try to gain I guess, respect and take up space by trying to beat men at their own game and like play by that, like play that game, play by their rules and like be more like them so that would gain me the respect or the power or like, you know, get people to listen to me basically. And that in itself is just fucked. And that's like, definitely something I've spoken about on the podcast a fair bit before, but I'm never really able to articulate it very well. I think because it's also, well, it's complex, but it's pretty controversial, and I don't want to like feminist bash, but I think a lot of types of feminism are like basically just still completely playing by the patriarchy's rules because the way that they're trying to gain power or control or respect is exactly that. It's like being more like a man and being better at being like a man than him, and like I can fucking, you know, you can do that, I can bleed and do it too or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Oh, this is something else I was thinking about when you were talking about this. It's like this whole like, which has kind of died out now, girl boss culture. So it's like, I'm a girl and I'm a boss. Yeah. Like, I'm raising my kids and I'm a fucking lawyer and I'm going to the gym at 6 a.m. every morning and I'm bleeding while I'm doing it. Like, I'm stronger than you, which is crazy because I feel like everyone should be taking some lessons for once out of the femininity book.
Exactly.
Like, chilling the fuck out.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally. And like how much more, like this is, again, a different topic and a total tangent, but like if you think about workplace culture and morale and like how things would go down in a corporate workplace if there was a little bit more from that column of like, you know, listening well and empathy and like, you know, team building and cooperation and just like things that women kind of do better because we're not trying to fucking alpha one another and we're not trying to like assert ourselves in these kind of more masculine or like forceful ways. It would be a game changer. And like it's definitely, there's like trends of that, and I love that there's a bit of movement in that space. But yeah, you were mentioning like because you've worked in quite male dominated workplaces with engineering, and I have not had that experience, so like I have no idea how I would go with that or what that would be like. But yeah, you mentioned you'd like even bought a book that like was written for women who are in these sorts of like corporate or male dominated workplaces to help them get like more respect or whatever, right?
Yeah, totally. And this book is interesting. Like just before we sat down to record this podcast, I had another look at it because I was like, maybe I'm remembering it wrong. And reading it, I think there were lots of really valuable things in there because I think some of the people that I've worked with at Shell who are women, actually really related to the fact that because they'd been raised in this like nice girl culture, if you're being like the nice girl who's like placating people and self-sacrificing, it's actually really challenging to get a leg up in these environments. So like there's two things here. There's one thing of like the way that we raise girls to like not be very confident or not think that they're as smart as the man that they're sitting next to is bad. I think we shouldn't be doing that.
Issue one.
That's issue one. So, like, you know, on one hand, I think there actually is a lot to be learned. Like, what if you actually did feel confident enough to, like, say your thing loudly enough so that everyone turned and looked at you? Like, whoa, that's huge. And it's cool, or it's interesting when you talk to people who have actually struggled with that because, like, I think that's actually a really big thing for people.
Yeah.
But then I think it starts to go into this territory where it's like you're almost erasing that other side of you. Where you're going like, oh, like it's the whole be the man, girl boss culture. Yeah. Like I can do it and bleed. Like,
Yeah.
Excuse the interruption, my loves, but I'm shamelessly seeking reviews and 5-star ratings for the potty because, as I'm sure you've noticed by now, it's pretty fab. And the more people who get to hear it, the more people it can help. Reviews and ratings help me curry favour with the algorithmic gods and get suggested to other listeners to check out. Plus, they make me feel really good and appreciated as I continue to pour my heart and soul into creating this baby for you. And I promise I don't mazz over them or anything. I mostly just tuck them away for a rainy day when I'm filled with self-doubt and existential dread about being self-employed, which is fairly frequently. So you see, leaving a review really does make a difference, and it's an easy little act of support that you can take in just a minute or two by either going to Spotify and leaving 5 stars for the show, or writing a written review and leaving 5 stars over on Apple Podcasts. Choose your poison, or if you're a real overachiever, you could do both. Whoa now. If you are writing a review though, just be sure to only use G-rated words, because despite the fact that this is a podcast about sexuality, words like sex can be censored and your review won't actually show up. Lame. Anyway, what was that? Oh, you're going to go do it right now while I wait. Okay. Yeah. No, that's a great idea. May as well just quickly click that 5-star button before we get on with it and, forget about it and get on with your day. I'm hearing them roll in. I'm hearing those 5 stars. Oh my God, I make myself cringe. Anyway, thank you much, Lee. You're a total gem, and I'll let you get back to the episode now.
Like, one thing in this book, which this is the one that I'm like complaining about this book that I always come back to, is when you're sitting at your chair, you shouldn't sit with your foot under your butt. Like, if you're crossing your legs, you shouldn't sit like that. You have to sit with your feet like firmly planted on the ground, legs next to each other, not crossed.
Like a dude. Yeah.
Like a guy, because like guys don't sit with their legs all tucked up underneath them on their rolly office chair, which is bullshit, because that's way comfier way to sit.
Totally. And also, like, we've only just fucking come out of the times where we got told not to sit with our legs apart or man spread. We had to cross our legs to be more ladylike. So it's just like, for fuck's sake, can we stop trying to like dictate how we look and sit and do everything?
Yeah.
That's just insane. And like both of those things were for men. Like sitting in a way that was ladylike or proper, and then now not sitting in a way that's too ladylike or proper, so that you act more like a man and then command more respect. And don't remind them that you've got a fucking vagina, God forbid. Just like,
you're right.
Ugh.
You're totally right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah. No, it really is this like two ends of the spectrum thing. Like there's problems with like being too much of that nice girl, and also with being the man. Like, why can't we just let people fucking be? Just like, let people alone.
Because it's like, then we're just always caught in that same like space of like, there's always two kinds of things that are being demanded of us at once in our culture, and it's like, don't be a prude, but also don't be a slut, or don't be too much or too like dramatic or loud or whatever, but also like, if you want to be heard in a man's word and world, like, you need to be louder and more assertive. But then it's like, like what we were saying before, like a woman being assertive in a workplace and like really good, like really organized and just like giving directions and whatever.
Just in a workplace, just in your friends.
Just in general,
like, like, all right, everyone, we're going to go to the restaurant at like 8 p.m. and then we'll do this after.
Like, you would be called bossy.
Absolutely.
But like a dude would not be called bossy. He would be called assertive, or a good team leader, or a project manager, or like, organized and onto it. You'd be rewarded for the same thing.
Yeah, he's onto it. All right. Or otherwise, like, if you said that, it would be like, oh, look at this one. Fucking bossy boots over here telling us all where we're going to go have dinner. Like, this is something potentially more than the, like, people talking over me. This is something that I've come up against so often.
Really?
It's like you talk and then people are like, oh, look at you. You think you're in charge of everyone here.
Oh my God.
Which is annoying. Yeah, like, my idea is the best idea, so obviously we're gonna do it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, the amount of fucking times that I got called like bossy, or like, it got commented on, or people were like, oh, what the fuck? Like, if I was just doing something that like a dude would do without even questioning, and no one would bat an eyelid. Like, it's, pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, totally. You know what I've just thought? I don't know if you do this. Do you like change the way that your voice sounds depending on the type of men that you're around? To elicit a different, like, level of respect or a different reaction?
Yeah, I reckon.
I'm sure everyone does this. If you're listening to this podcast, I would be so curious of, like, if you do this.
Yeah.
Because I totally do this. Like if I'm at work or like if I'm sort of like in a group of guys, you know the group of guys
Yeah.
where like you know there's those kind of guys who are going to talk over you. You use a louder voice, you use a deeper voice, you use like different words that you would use. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different to like if I was hanging out with you, James and Lockie, I would just be like whatever, like laughing, giggling, being silly, like high pitched, like funny voices.
Totally.
You can't afford to do that.
No. Yeah, totally. It's like, and I think it's like good. It's a skill to have to be able to adapt the way you're speaking and the language you use to like who you're, you know, your audience, who you're talking to.
Totally.
That's like obviously like something that helps comfort the person you're around and create like a safe space. And then you're like meeting them on their level. However, when it gets a little bit more on the side of like, and I don't even know if it's not the same as code switching, but it's the thing that reminds me like, you know, it's something kind of in that vein of like having to adapt to the people you're speaking to like assimilate and fit in more and then have them respect you and treat you better.
Yeah,
like,
to have them. Yeah, exactly. Like you
yeah.
shouldn't have to work that hard to get people to respect you.
Yeah.
They should just respect you and then see what happens rather than wait until you've like proven that you're strong enough.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know what I mean? That you can like play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of meandered a fair way from like the original, but that's perfect. That's like exactly what, you know, it's just like opening up convos about this stuff. And like the initial thing that bugged me was, being in groups of dudes and being spoken over and having people just not really listening to me. And then I guess from there, like, we covered a bit of ground. Love that.
I think it's kind of like the other one that we recorded where like it's really hard to talk about the one thing.
Yeah.
Clam, because that one thing, you know, if you're with a group of friends and they talk over you once, fine. But if for your entire life, people have been like talking over you or like thinking that your voice is like not serious enough because it's too feminine or like not listening to your ideas or calling you bossy or calling you too aggressive, it's fucking annoying. I think what you're trying to do, right, with this segment is like just these little things. And in isolation, they're not big, but like in the grand scheme of like the society that we live in, they just really grate on you. Hey?
Yeah. Absolutely. I've got a fucking sandy clam. Let's go jump in the ocean and wash it out. Thank you.
That's all right.
Till next time, folk.
And that's it, darling hearts. Thank you for stopping by the Labia Lounge. Your bum groove in the couch will be right where you left it, just waiting for you to sink back in for some more double L action next time. And in the meantime, if you'd be a dear and subscribe, share this episode, or leave a review on iTunes, then you can pat yourself on the snatch because that, my dear, is a downright act of sex-positive feminist activism. And you'd be supporting my vision to educate, empower, demystify, and destigmatize with this here podcast. Also, I'm always open to feedback, topic ideas that you'd love to hear covered, or guest suggestions. So feel free to get in touch via my website at freyagraph.com or say hey over on Insta. My handle is Freya_graph_YMT, and I seriously hope you're following me on there because damn, we have fun. We have fun. Anyway, later labial legends. I'll see you next time.